Welcome, everyone, to episode 78 of the Missing Pieces podcast. If this is your first time watching or listening, my name's Greg, and this is where I sit down and I discuss my life, Lego, and anything else that's on my mind. This, of course, is being uploaded to YouTube, but if you prefer to listen to this in podcast form as an actual podcast, you can listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere else that you could possibly listen to podcasts, if that's your thing. And a lot of people do, surprisingly. I go in every once in a while and I check in on Anchor to see just like, who's listening to this? Is anyone listening to this? And it turns out there are. So thank you guys for allowing me to be a part of your week, a part of your life, and just listen to what I have to say, which this week, just to be completely honest with you guys, I always tell you guys that consistency is one of the most important parts of success and one of the most important things that you could possibly do to get to where you want to go. And this week, I was really on the fence about doing a Missing Pieces episode because I feel like I'm in a place in my life right now, and right now I mean like on a week-to-week basis, where I feel like I'm in like a transition point in between two chapters, if you will. Like I'm about at the end of one chapter and about to start a new one, and that chapter is remote learning kindergarten with Clark, man. The thing that I've been spending the last 25 weeks of my life doing with him. And spring break is about to hit, and after spring break, and I think I've talked about this in a couple of different places, so you probably know, but if you are new, welcome. Clark is about to go to school as like a regular student full-time, and we made this decision based on a number of factors. One being that we kept Clark home mainly because we were worried about COVID and like what that would entail. I assumed that schools would be shut down pretty much this entire year. I was wrong about that. It really hasn't been as bad as what maybe we feared, which is good. And we get emails or text message and phone calls, I think everything, from the school every day, and we can see the cases, and there's maybe like one or two a day, and some days none. So Cody and I decided, Cody is Mrs. Brickitect, by the way, that's my wife. I feel like we're just meeting here. She said that maybe, and we've made this decision together, that maybe Clark should go in the fourth quarter, which just so coincidentally happens right after spring break is over, right after Easter. So that is what we're doing. And Clark, I think, is going to do really well because it gives him an opportunity as an only child and pretty much spending all of his days just with me. It gives him an opportunity to go in and experience what it's like to be an actual student, to see how a day is run, to be a kindergartner, to be a regular kindergarten, something that I wish he would have had that experience this entire year. But I don't regret the decision we made at the time we did with the information that we had. And I know that the memories that we've made so far this year and all this time that we've had together, I think myself personally, I can speak for myself, I wouldn't trade that for having him go to school a little bit longer this year. And hopefully him looking back on this and maybe seeing the videos and all the adventures and stuff we did together, I think maybe his future self won't regret that either. But he'll still have like the benefit that I wanted him ideally to have going to school, which is to get in there, see what it's like, make some friends ideally, and just know what the process is. So when he goes to first grade next year when school starts, he won't be like in shell shock, like, what is this place? I have to sit here for 7 hours. I have to do this. I have to follow the rules. Yeah, it's good to learn that in kindergarten because I feel like teachers in kindergarten are probably a little more lenient when it comes to kids that are like all over the place. I only know that because Cody actually did a substitute job back before she got hired with the school. She went in to be a sub for a kindergarten class one day, and she was like, no, it's not for me. It takes a special type of person to be a kindergarten teacher, and I couldn't imagine having a room full of 20 Clarks. It's bad enough just with one, and to deal with all of that on a daily basis as your job, God bless him, man. But he's going in and doing that, and I'm excited for him, and I'm excited for myself too, and I've talked about this a little bit before, where this is going to be like a new chapter of my life, where I'm going all of a sudden, instead of editing these and making these vlogs every day of our adventures, it kind of becomes more of like a solo thing, and I've decided that I really want to take my effort into the Lego space because I don't feel like my life is nearly as interesting enough to have someone want to see what I'm doing on a daily basis. I would much rather focus that attention on the hobby that I love to do, which is Lego, and share, like, put some personal stuff in there like I enjoy. But this gives me something to focus on, and I have so much that I have dreamed about and have wanted to do and on my list of goals and video series and stuff. So I'm just like ready for that. And coming into this episode, I mentioned like maybe I wouldn't make one this week. I just felt like, how much can I really talk about how excited I am week after week to get to this like next chapter, the brickitect renaissance, if you will, that I'm like leading in towards. And, I guess I'll leave it at that. I just wanted to tell you where I'm at. But there were other things that happened this week, and that's why I make a pledge to always be here with you guys, because I always tell us to Clark, man, and I try to make this something that I think about. Maybe this could be helpful to you as well. Every day is special, even if it feels just like, oh, it's just another Tuesday. It's special. It's a special day. You were given an opportunity to be here, which is incredible within itself. To think of the odds of you existing on this day right now that you're listening to this. It's remarkable, and don't let that go to waste with the mentality that, oh man, it's just another day. I'm just going to my job. I'm just going to school. Nothing special is going to happen. It's not the case. It's special, and if you go into it with that mentality, and you put it out there, I know this is kind of maybe getting into the woo-woo territory or whatever. I feel like if what you put out is what you receive. If you think that you're going to have a bad day, like you're running late, things are going to go bad, everything's going to go bad for you. If you block that out of your mind and you try to have a good day, sometimes those bad things will still happen, but if you're not focused on them, you don't worry about it. Think about this. I think we can all relate to this. Think about a time that you were in a hurry to get somewhere, whether you're driving or a passenger in a car, and you needed to get there in 5 minutes, and it was it's going to take you 10 minutes to get there. So you're trying to get there, and every time you get to a light, it turns red every single time, and it feels like the world is against you. It's only against you because you're noticing it. If you weren't in that capacity where you're like, I have to be there now, maybe you get the red lights, maybe you don't, and maybe you just don't notice it. You're just enjoying yourself or listening to Missing Pieces or something like that, and I don't know. This is I should probably start this over again. Welcome everyone to Missing Pieces. No, we're not going to do that. I'm just trying to say, keep a positive attitude, and I'm trying to say as well, if we're going to make this brickitect this early on in the game, keep a positive attitude and just show up. It's the most important thing you can do is just to show up, and that's why I'm here with you guys, because otherwise, I feel like I'd be doing myself a disservice, and obviously you as well, because I know there's at least some people out there that every Sunday really enjoy sitting down and listening to this, and you don't care if I'm talking about how excited I am for the second or 17th time in a row, but I am. I'm really looking forward to this next chapter, and I just can't wait. So join me, if you will, for that. Saying all that, as excited as I am, I'm also very sad. Yesterday was Clark and I's, if that's how you speak English. Clark and I's, Clark and mine's. Me and Clark's last Friday together, technically, during the day. And I guess with anything, you feel like you have infinite time left ahead of you, and the things you enjoy to do, which I certainly enjoy our days together, you feel like, oh, that's not coming to an end forever. In fact, our days were supposed to end last September when school started, and that was going to be the end of our journey together, at least in the form that it's taken, where we're together all day, every day, which I love. But yesterday we had our last Friday together. I let Clark man kind of decide what we're going to do with that day, and he decided he wanted to go to Target, and we got a toy there, and we got some lunch and came home and had that, and it was and played with the toy and stuff, and it was Minecraft related, by the way. I won't spoil it because the video's coming out next Friday. You guys can tune in. I'll leave the mystery a mystery. And I really was reflecting on it as we were leaving yesterday, and I thought about just how sad I am. This is all kind of coming to an end. I loved having this time together. Clark and I, if you think about this, I quit my job, my full-time job, in August of 2017, and I became essentially Clark's babysitter at that point. This is before school and all the other stuff that we've taken on. But every day we had all this time together to do the things that we love to do, and oftentimes that was Lego, and we brought you guys along with that. We filmed a lot of vlogs, so much of it's documented, and I'm so thankful to have that as my video time capsule. What is my ultimate goal of these channels? But you never really picture that coming to an end, and we've had almost 4 years now of this experience. And in knowing that was Clark and I's last Friday together, where we had the whole day. Obviously, I'll still be seeing him in the mornings and picking him up in the afternoons, and we can get into adventures and stuff. But to have full days, man, it made me sad. I guess there is hope, though, because school's only going to be for 2 months, and then we're into summer vacation, which we're kind of back into it for a whole 3 months again. But then next year, we're talking 9 months of him being in school. And again, it's I'm really split on this, and I'm sure if you're a parent, you can relate. You love your kid, and you love spending that time together. But I do really crave, as an introvert even, I really crave having the ability to work on the things that I really want to do and get organized. You can see my studio is a mess. That's going to be something that I'm really looking forward to getting fixed. And like I picture myself working on a lot of stuff during the day, getting all the boring video stuff out of the way, like the editing and the behind the scenes stuff. And then when Clark comes home, it's just like, hey, bro, what are we doing today? And I told you guys about my podcast idea, which is titled The Ride Home, where Clark and I just discuss our days. Mostly him. I'd like to hear about his days as he's in school. And I don't know if that's going to turn into anything or what it'll be. It might just be for us. But I'm going to record it each day. It's about a 15-minute drive home from school. And I feel like, after 5 days of doing that, we've recorded, I don't know, 75 minutes of content, and maybe we can boil that down to a 20-minute episode of Clark just kind of talking about life as a 6-year-old. And again, the video time capsule, just putting those deposits in there. It might be a really cool thing. It might be something that's really awesome. I'm trying to figure out the logistics of recording it, because I'd like to have video of it so we can actually see ourselves and what we look like, because we'll be changing each day, right? And the scenery will be changing. But I'm trying to figure out how we're going to get mic'd up, because I don't want it just to record like from a microphone up on the camera and then Clark's all the way in the back seat and you can't hear him. So I'm looking to get some wireless like lavalier mics that we can just hook onto our shirts. I think that would probably be the best thing. Either that, I just wire my entire car up with microphones, which would equally be awesome, maybe even more. But I'm looking forward to that. And again, this is just like changing this chapter. I'm a person that doesn't like to sit still too long. I like trying new things. I get bored easily. I wouldn't say that I have like ADD or anything, because I can get zoned in on something and go just all in for a long time. That reminds me of another topic I'm going to talk about after this in just a moment. But I'm excited to like switch some things up and try some things. And I think this channel in particular is just going to be like, it's going to be amazing when I have the time and I put the time and effort into this that I've been putting into the vlogs and stuff. It's going to be good. So, just the balance shift is going to happen. The content's still going to be there. I'll still be doing stuff with Clark. Don't worry. He's not disappearing. It's just going to be some me time, which I very rarely have. From the time that I get up to the time I go to bed, it's like, I very rarely, outside of just like when I'm laying in bed and I get on my iPad and watch some YouTube videos, it's like I'm always like with Clark and doing stuff and like being active, and it's gonna be nice to just be like, okay, Greg, just drop Clark off. What are we doing today? And I talk to myself like that because of my mobile personality. No, I'm just kidding. I shouldn't joke about things that people actually do suffer from, but my comedy is of poor taste. Let's talk about going all in and the brickitect catchphrases. My Patreon group in the Discord was, I wouldn't say making fun of me, but they were talking about how the catchphrases that Clark and I use are infiltrating their lives. And I thought this would be a funny topic to bring up with you, because there may be some of you that are experiencing the same thing. Like the things we say, like Sugar Shack and going all in and son of a biscuit and every day. People can't say every day without thinking of Clark Man now. There's all these things that we say in this channel, and you could probably think of a dozen more that we say. The Jeep life is one that they were talking about, how they see Jeeps now and they have to say it. There's all these things that we say and we do on the channel. Mini fingers. I mean, you have all these little phrases that we use, and I kind of feel bad a little bit for saying all these things, because then they get ingrained in your mind, and then you find yourself saying them, and maybe you look like a fool because you say mini fingers instead of minifigures in front of your friends. But I think it's kind of fun. I think it's fun to have like our little insider group here, and the things we say and do together. I think that's really, really awesome. But I do apologize to anyone out there that has used any of our catchphrases or gotten in trouble for using our catchphrases, or embarrassed, or uses them to the point where maybe some people wonder what's wrong with you. For that, I apologize. Other things, though, good segue here. Other things that I want to apologize for. I mentioned this is kind of a follow-up on a follow-up on a follow-up. Remember the ad situation from last week with Missing Pieces, where I said that I turned off like the ads that pop up in the middle? In the last 2 weeks, YouTube has put them on. In fact, the last week before this last episode, 70, let's do some numbers here, 76. I counted 14 ads on that video. And I'm just like, Sugar Shack, right? It was excessive. So I told you guys last week, I'm like, if there's ever ads on this video, and I'm going to say this now as well, if you ever see ads in the middle of this video, I put one before it. I feel like that's fairly harmless, but I don't want your experience interrupted by ads. Like I'm in the middle of talking something, and 3 minutes in, YouTube's throwing an ad, and then 3 minutes later they throw an ad right in the middle of a sentence for me. Don't do that, YouTube. And I found out that it is very much a thing, because I turned off ads last week. And then I checked. I'm like, okay, let me check this because we were going away for the day up to a camp to help Cody's parents. I checked it and the ads were back on. So it's something with YouTube where you're marking that you don't want ads and saving it. I was very like looking, I'm looking for the word here. I was very much looking at this. I was tuned in to this, paying special attention to it because I knew it was a problem. And I made sure I marked it. I made sure that I saved it. And when I went back in and checked, it was marked to have ads in the middle again. So this is obviously something that I don't know if it's intentional that YouTube's doing or maybe just like a glitch, but you would think Google, being the biggest company or one of the biggest companies in the world and being as advanced in technology as they are, you wouldn't think that's an issue. And it makes me wonder, I mean, could we talk about Missing Pieces conspiracy theories here? In fact, Missing Pieces could actually be a very good title for conspiracy or like UFO channel or something. So maybe we'll transition to that in the future. Is YouTube intentionally putting those ads back in the middle of videos so they can make more money? Because I think the split is, I think they get 45% of all the ad revenue and the creator gets 55%, if I'm not mistaken. So you saying you don't want any ads is almost it's like a disadvantage for them, right? Like, well, I want ads on these videos. I don't want just one ad. I want 14 ads. And you would think most creators would think the same, but I'm not in that boat. I would rather have you have a good experience than to make 16 cents off of 1,000 people get their freaking video interrupted 14 times, right? So I went back and I unclicked it, and thankfully I didn't see any comments about there being ads in it, but it's something I'm going to have to go back through a couple times and check, which I shouldn't have to do, but have to do apparently. So again, if you ever see, please let me know, because last time it was like 5 hours in and there were tons of ads, and I don't want that in your life. I want this to be like a nice experience for you. At least I hope so. At least I hope you're having a good time here with me. And again, I appreciate you for being here, because it's tough to commit this much time to somebody talking about whatever we're talking about here. I think about that a lot, and I don't take that lightly. So thank you guys. I'll thank you a couple more times before we end here. Very appreciative. Let me thank you. I'm so appreciative. Anyways, let's go to the next big thing of this week that I did. This isn't Lego related, but my chickens. You guys know that I have chickens. Frickin' chickens. They're a nightmare. If you guys are ever thinking about getting chickens, turn around and walk back out. Just don't. The last year we've had our chickens free ranging, which means that they are free to walk wherever. Our entire yard is fenced in. So I'm like, you know what? Let's let these guys go out and do their thing. And it's been nice because, you know, you're in your dining room and you look out the window and you see chickens walking around the backyard and they're pecking at the ground and stuff. And it's so cute. It's adorable. And then you get some new chickens that are nothing but trouble, big time troublemakers. And now you're looking out your window and the chicken's standing on the windowsill. Now you're looking out your window and the chicken is in your mulch in the front yard, pushing all of the mulch out so they can get whatever's under there, and it's all over your sidewalk. Now you go out on your deck and there's chicken poop all over the deck. It's maddening. Now you have a cat. And your cat likes to eat, right? So you like to have cat food for your cat? Well, it turns out chickens like cat food possibly more than chicken food because they're eating the cat food, and the cat's like desperate for food now. I decided that I was going to fence my chickens in. So I went to Tractor Supply and Lowe's. I got the supplies. I got 50 feet of fence. I got a bunch of the T-posts to put in the ground. I got the materials to make a gate, including a latch, hinge, all that stuff. And last Monday, I decided that I was going to go out and make a fence. And that's what I did. And now the chickens are in there and my life is so much better. I can still look out my living room window and see the chickens out there frolicking, but they're in a contained space now. They're not on my deck. They're not eating cat food. I'm not sure Mello knows what to do, because Mello's my cat, by the way. She doesn't understand the concept of actually having food in her bowl. I used to have I have one of those feeders that you can just fill up and she can eat whenever she wants. I couldn't do that with the chickens because they would literally eat the whole thing. Now she's like, what? I have food? What is this world? There's no more chicken poop. In fact, today after I'm done recording this, I'm going out and I'm going to be hosing off or pressure washing our deck to make it look real nice, and I shouldn't have to deal with that anymore. So chickens are fine in contained areas, and I gave them a big area. In fact, I think I'm going to expand it by another 50 feet. So they're balling. It's just like the question I have for them, and their brains are the size of like peas, but it's like, I've given you this entire space to do whatever you want in. Why do you have to do the things that you do? Why can't you just Why can't you just go down to the end of the yard and root around in the grass and do whatever you want to do? Why do you have to ruin my life? So that should be done with that. There will be videos in Greg's World coming up this coming week where you'll see the process of it and me building the fenced in area and stuff. So this missing pieces is like a little bit of a preview of what's to come, because we run a week behind on that channel. What's next here? Oh, another thing I want to do is outside the door that's in the Brickitect studio here, there's an area that I'm trying to get concrete put into, and I spent this week calling people and having people come out for estimates. This is very unrelated to Lego, although it is a building type thing. But I was like trying to get an estimate on how much it would cost to have like a pad poured outside the door here, because it's just stone right now. And the chickens, this is where they pretty much live. So now that they moved out, this is where I'm thinking like, oh, it'd be great to have under our deck, have it all paved or cemented or concreted or whatever the phrase is. And I got some estimates and I was shocked as to how much it is. I don't know how many homeowners out there that have gotten concrete poured, but to do the area that I was looking to do, which I think is like 24 feet by like 17 feet. I can't remember the dimensions, but it's like a giant L shape. It's like the size of our deck. $6,000, $5,000 to $6,000 is what the quote's been coming in at. So I'm really like rethinking that. I'm thinking about maybe just doing a smaller section, so we have a little space outside the door, and then like doing some nice like stone work in there, which I can probably get for a couple $100s and make it nice. But I wasn't expecting that. I was thinking like, oh, this will be like $2,000, and that sucks, but it'll be nice for storage. But I can't. It's hard to justify putting $6,000 of concrete under your deck, regardless of what you may or may not store under there. But we've got some kayaks under there and stuff, and I can do whatever with those. But I was shocked. So if you're ever looking to get concrete put in, be prepared for a price shock on that. It's a little brutal. In the world of Lego, let's talk Lego for a little bit here before we get into the last couple topics. This week I've been in the zone of trying to get organized a little bit. I've been bagging up sets. In fact, I started putting them in. This is no permanent thing right here. These shelves that are behind me. If you're listening to this, I've got 72. Actually, they're bins, storage bins, Sterilite storage bins. I've got 72 of these behind me. There's some behind the ones that you can see if you're watching the video. And that's going in the storage room, but the storage room is such a cluster right now that I really can't, I need to like take some stuff out to put those in, is how it's going to work. But I started filling those up with sets that we've had built. I'm taking care of the Overwatch sets that have been sitting here, and all these Missing Pieces episodes will last several weeks or maybe months. And just trying to like get ahead of the game. So when like Clark goes to school, I'm going to be going full-time into organizing. But after that, it's going to be like building, sharing, streaming, enjoying. I think I'm going to really start streaming a lot. It's something I don't think I've really talked about. But I feel like if I'm sitting here building, as much as maybe I just want to be entertained by watching videos and stuff, I can't tell you how much I appreciate. And this message is going out to any YouTuber out there in the Lego space that I'm subscribed to. I can't tell you how much I appreciate when I'm just like bored or whatever, and I look on YouTube and I see someone's live, regardless of what you're doing. It could be something as boring as, sorting Lego pieces or bagging sets up or building something or just chatting or whatever. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you just being live and giving me something to kind of tune into and interact with. I think is great. And I'd like to be on that end of that. If there's one thing that I think I can do in this world, and this is surprising to me because I don't feel like I'm great at it, is just kind of like converse like I'm doing right now. And I love it when there's people like conversing back with me, and we're having a little thing here. I'd like to do some more of that. I like to kind of build the community around that. And I've talked before about really shutting down Brickitect Live and maybe just doing like streams like that on my main channel. But I don't know if I want to like pollute the main channel, or if I want to like, because what I would do probably if I did it on the main channel, I would do the live stuff, but then I'd put it in like an unlisted playlist, so like you didn't see all these live streams in your feed, because that could get obnoxious. But then I have Brickitect Live, which has like been tailored for that live streaming audience. So maybe I will I was thinking about just retiring that channel because I have too many as it is. But maybe I'll just keep Brickitect Live going and throw this stuff up there, leave the videos out, only subscribe to it if you're really into that scene, and just let it roll and see what happens. I'm thinking about doing it. And if there's other people that are available during the day, maybe I could have them jump on with me and we could be chatting while I do stuff. Make it a thing. Like the quarantine streams almost. Like the quarantine streams for a year ago on Brickitect Live. And if you were a part of that, that was a great time. I got burnt out on it because I was doing way too much. But if I have 8 hours free every day, how hard would it be for me to jump on for like an hour or so? Maybe not committing to it every day, but jump on for like an hour or two. Throw some peeps on with me if ever anyone's like home or off or whatever. Maybe during the summertime that would work out well. And we just chat and BS and all that fun stuff. Something to think about. And maybe if you're listening to this, that's something that you're like really excited about because it gives you like more of this, only in like an interactive way. I think that'd be fun. Same follow-up, speaking of Lego and speaking of channels and streaming, with breaking it down, I think I've determined that I would like that to be, if I'm going to continue that series as like a Q&A series, I think I do want that to be a very condensed, like 10-minute video or something like that, where I show myself doing something while I do voiceover on answering questions. That way I can pull questions that are like very relevant and ones that I really want to answer, and then boil it down really hard for the people that aren't really into that stuff that we just talked about. Not many people want to sit down for an hour and listen to somebody answer random questions about Lego, but if it's like a 10-minute thing and you guys are actually curious to hear my answers to things, I think it could be something fun. So we'll try it out. Don't know if it's gonna be a weekly thing or if I'll just kind of pop it up as we go. But if we have a series of questions, I think the hardest part's kind of be reviving it so I can get some questions answered in the first episode. But I can make that a part of my week, sit down on Wednesdays or something and answer some questions. Just do like a one-take voiceover. It doesn't need to be anything fancy or whatnot, and I'll put the questions up on the screen. And, like I did before. I think that works better than the way that I did it. That was a good trial just to see how it would go. But I don't think that's what most people would prefer. And I'm thinking for myself, like, just as busy as I am, I'd much rather, if it was like someone that I really enjoyed watching, I'd rather them make it like a highlight reel as opposed to something where it's live and lasts forever. Especially if we're live streaming outside of that, because the thing that really, from the patron Discord group, they were saying like, oh, this is a great opportunity for kids that can't join Patreon or whoever. I'm not just kids, but it's a great opportunity for them to interact because they don't have that opportunity outside of something like that. But if we're doing live streams throughout and you can be in the chat there, I think that's your opportunity, and I can talk to you there. So we'll keep breaking it down more condensed, and we'll just see how it goes. Again, I have a whole bunch of different series ideas, and we're gonna run this almost like a like NBC or ABC would, where we throw the show out there and we'll see how it performs over the season, and if it doesn't do very well and something else is doing better, that slot gets taken by the other thing, and we'll let the audience kind of, I always tell you guys, vote with your wallets. You can vote with your views, and we'll see what works and what doesn't. Last thing I want to talk about today outside of Lego. I didn't really build anything amazing this week. Clark has some cool mocks. I got to start a series. Like, he's been building all these epic mocks. I got to start a series that's like Clark's mock of the week, because he's like such a creative dude. And I'm just so proud of what he's making. And everything's kind of sitting off on the sideline here. So Clark's mock of the week, new series. I'm sure that one will do well, because you guys are going to want to see what he's up to and what he's making. But yeah, there's some cool stuff. For a 6-year-old, I think he's doing way better builds than I was doing at that age. Anyways, outside of Lego, thank you for tuning into my Lego conversation that lasted exactly 17 seconds of this entire podcast. And to think, like, I just looked at the time and I'm like, holy moly, I contemplated not doing one this week. And I get this every single time. I get this like rush when I'm filming these, and I'm always so glad that I did. And again, it comes back to just showing up. You just show up. Think about, I know we're going this weight loss thing together, some of us. Think about, you don't want to work out, but maybe if you just go and do like 1 minute on the treadmill, just to do 1 minute, you're probably going to stay on there longer, right? You're not just going to stand on there 1 minute and be like, I'm done. The hardest part is showing up. Maybe that'll be the title. I noticed one thing I'm going to talk about. We're going to go kind of meta here. I noticed that my titles, being as cryptic as they are for Missing Pieces, I think leads a lot of people to not watching them. The last couple weeks have been very cryptic. I should make the titles something like last week I talked about my top 3 most wanted Lego sets. Had I titled Missing Pieces that, I think like probably at least 1,000 people more probably would have watched it. I think maybe you got to lure people in with like that low-hanging fruit of the thing that they really want, which is like the reason why I do this, or like my favorite Lego thing, or Lego this, Lego that. And then they get in, like they're like, oh, I love Lego. Let me click this. And then they're like, oh, wow, there's some advice here, and I really enjoy this. Like, you got to find a way to bring people in, not clickbait. As much as I think I'm pretty talented in that art. At least that's what I've been told from you guys, some of you angry people with my recent videos. Or not recent videos, but one recent video that I made I was just having fun with. But people don't like to have fun in Lego. They're all bitter. I won't say that, but there's a comment that comes up here in listener feedback that kind of I think is well said about that, which we'll read here in just a minute after I finally talk about these last 2 topics that I have on my outline here. I want to talk about the importance of being yourself. I think this is something that a lot of us can learn from and maybe take something from. I've been seeing a lot of things lately. In fact, there was one that was shared in our Discord group about, I won't even give any names, but there was a YouTuber that is basically quitting because they were tired of being this person that they portrayed themselves to be on YouTube. And, I just think, I'm always talking about authenticity and sharing who you are and being yourself, and how much of what I am, and the reason that people tend to follow us is because of that, of just keeping things real. And I think about how tiring it would be and how burnt out you would get in playing this person that you're not really. And I know a lot of us do this in life. Whether you go to a job, you kind of have to play the role of an employee, or you're with different people, and you kind of play into like who those people are. But I think it's really important to really think about who you are and who you want to be, and really focus on being that person. You never get tired of being yourself. And even if you think that yourself isn't someone that people like or wouldn't want to be with, you're with the wrong people then, because there are people out there for everyone, whether it's romantically or friendship or whatever the case is. And if the people that you're with don't like you for who you are, let them go. And that's, that applies to YouTube as well. If you feel like that, like this person, for example, you feel like you have to be this person for people to watch your videos, then just be yourself and see who the real fans are, right? And I'm actually proud of anyone that kind of comes out and doing that. And I'm also equally upset with people that do fake stuff. Like there was this couple that I watched, and I shared this a little bit last night on the Friday night patron stream, where they're doing all these videos together, and it seems like everything is good in their life, and they're all so happy, and they're being funny and all this. And then all of a sudden you see this video where it's like, boom, we separated. And they were like, I think married with a kid. And it's just like, wait a minute, where did this come from? Like, you were just making all these videos where everything was great. And that takes me back to a point that I made a little while ago in Missing Pieces, where you should never judge someone positively or negatively from what you see in a YouTube video, like of vlogs, for example, where they're sharing their life, because you are literally seeing just a little tidbit, a little snippet of their day or whatever, and you're probably only seeing what they really want you to see. You're seeing the fun parts, the funny things. The same thing applies to like Instagram or Facebook or wherever. You're seeing the thing that they want to share. They're showing like the happy, smiling thing of them doing this thing, and then they're not showing the part where they got into an argument right after that, or right before that, or like the grind, or whatever it was. People are very selective, and they want you to think that they're the best people and they're living the best life and everything is so great. But I think we all know that doesn't happen 100% of the time. And I like the people that tell it how it really is. I like the people that when you see them in a video or wherever, you get that same person in real life. And I told the people last night on Patreon, don't trust any YouTuber that doesn't live stream. And that might be a little aggressive, but the reason I say that is because in live streams, it's much harder to put on that show or whatever, or even what we're doing right now. You talk to someone for 30 minutes or whatever, you can tell that they're not that zany, crazy person that you see that's making these wild videos where they're always screaming and their mouths open and their eyes are wide, and it's like it boils down to who that person really is. And I don't know, I think there's a lot of fakes out there, and I crave to find the real people. When I do, I'm so thankful for it. And there's a lot of real people in the Lego space that I've met and become friends with. And I think maybe this is worse in other areas of YouTube, but I don't know. Just be wary. When you have an opinion of something, positive or negative, just really think about the fact that you're only seeing a little glimpse. And if the thing you're seeing, like a lot of times we see people with like, shredded six packs or whatever, or like looking awesome on the beach on Instagram, just know that isn't like that's probably not typical. And if you ever went to a subreddit called Instagram Reality, it's funny because they'll take like an actual photo from Instagram of someone, and then they'll take like another photo that was taken of them or whatnot, and it's like way different. That is like symbolic for pretty much everything that you see on social media. And I'll just throw that out there again. I wouldn't go as far, maybe saying don't trust anyone that doesn't live stream, because some people just don't like doing that. But I feel like through live streaming, you get to really know a person and who they are and what they're like. And that's where I make connections with people. I feel like that's where I do it the most. You can make a video about whatever, but it's like nothing more intimate than being with someone in real time and like having a conversation with them. Something to think about. Outside of that, something to think about. What was I saying last night? I came up with a new catchphrase last night. Such is life. Anytime you're kind of like, you're kind of saying something like, oh man, my car got a flat tire yesterday. You're like, such is life. It can be a good way to write things off. One last thing that I did this week before we move on to listener feedback. This is kind of all over the place. I just took a little bit of notes as I was talking last night. Parkitect. It's you would think it's something that I came up with, right? This thing called Parkitect. What is Parkitect? It's a game, actually. I keep referencing this Discord group. It's like my friend group now, where we were talking about gaming, and we have a gaming channel, and I wanted to talk about maybe getting into a game like Roller Coaster Tycoon and playing that, and maybe even bringing some of that over to brickitect, because I feel like it's like the world of building, and it would be fun to watch. It maybe boiled down from a live stream into like an edited video where you could join me as I build a roller coaster. And Papa Bear, one of my good friends one of my oldest friends, not old, him friend long time ago, he recommended this game called Parkitect, which is like a theme park architect. So Parkitect, see what they did there? They stole my branding. But he was like, this game could be an option. It's 25% off right now. So I checked it out. I did like a comparison, or watched a comparison video on Parkitect versus Roller Coaster Tycoon. And people are saying Parkitect is better. So I downloaded it this week. I played it. I streamed it, did the tutorial. It was a bit of a disaster playing it on PC because I had to get like all of the settings right so I could stream it properly, because I was trying to do it in 4K down to 1080p and I was having issues, but that's beside the point. Had a lot of fun playing it. I think I'm going to play some more of it today. I stream it on Twitch. That's where I stream all my games. It's twitch.tv/brickitect. It's my name over there. Someone got brickitect, you weasels. But anyways, they don't even stream. I'm going to be like, I would pay them for the name if I could. If you have it, I have money. I will pay you. It's like $5. Anyways, had fun with that game. I want to do more of that. It's really fun. The coaster building is difficult. I had a heck of a time with that, but I really love the idea of managing a theme park. And you can like raise and lower prices. You can put new things in. You can take loans out to build new things. You can add concessions. You can add souvenir shops, bathrooms. You can see what the people are saying in the park and how they're feeling. And if something's like not right, you can make that correct. And you can see how the park's generating revenue. It's a lot of fun. It sounds to most people probably sounds like a job or something, but it's fun. It's fun doing that. And maybe I'll share some of that here on this channel as like part of a new series, like in gaming. And I thought that'd be fun for a lot of things. Like we could do Lego Worlds, we could do other Lego games, and it would bridge that gap between the gaming channel and like the Lego channel, and be relevant to people that enjoy building. So that was fun, and I think that concludes pretty much all of the big things that happened this week. We were between chapters, and I moved my chickens, and the concrete, and the Parkitect, and the importance of being yourself. All of those things kind of were running through my mind this week, and I'm really thankful and happy that I committed to sit down and share these. And I hope, if anything, if you got anything from this episode, I hope it encourages you just to show up. But anyways, let's get into some listener feedback here from the people that watched last week and had some things to say about the episode. First one is a follow-up from Bob's Builds. And if you remember Bob from last week, he was a little upset because he put a lot of time into making a video, and unfortunately it didn't quite get the views that he was looking for. In fact, it only got a few views, and he was thinking about quitting YouTube. And I told him, and the whole video kind of centered around this topic, I told him that he should quit. If the only thing that he's doing this for is views, he's never going to make it. He's never going to last. And it takes a certain type of passion to really become a video maker if you're going to do this in a like a long-term way, and maybe even turn it into something that generates revenue. But Bob got back to me. He says, "Hey Greg, thanks for the advice. Honestly, I love making editing videos. I was just upset that people didn't watch my video. I got really upset because I looked into how much views others got compared to my channel. Now I learned it's not about views, it's about what makes me happy, and I think making videos makes me happy. And thank you for pointing me into that direction." From your friend Robert. So I like that reply. I think he's maybe thought about it, and he's like, I actually do like making this. I can understand being a little upset that your video didn't perform well, but it's not about like an individual video. It's about making a catalog. Your videos at first aren't going to do great. Like, it's going to take a while to build and just keep making it. And over time, like, things will get a little bit better. And then maybe YouTube will like start recommending one. That's how like things have worked for me. YouTube eventually finds your channel and they're like, oh, maybe people like watching this. And it's like, and then other people start watching and things just go up from there. But you have to get through that initial like building stage. And if you aren't passionate about it, and if you're just looking at the fact that 3 people watched your video and it's not worth it, that's why I told you, and I never tell someone this, very much rarely say, don't start a YouTube channel or you should quit, because I'm always trying to encourage people to do the things that they love to do. But it has to be something that you love to do. Next one. This comes from Gold Puffin, who I think has a great channel, and I've really enjoyed speaking to. He says, I've watched your I Quit Lego video, and of course, I knew you weren't really quitting. I participated willingly in being clickbaited and loved the video. That's my goal. Like, let's talk about clickbait for a minute. I'm going to let you finish here in a minute, Kanye West. Clickbait, the definition of clickbait is being lured into a video that's supposedly about one thing or feature something, and then being disappointed because it wasn't about that, or the quality wasn't what you'd expected. For example, a good clickbait video would be hot girls in bikinis, and then I have a thumbnail of a girl in a bikini, and then you click it and it's me sitting here doing missing pieces. Maybe we should just try that for a week and see what happens. But that's clickbait. Doing a video titled Making the Decision to Quit Lego, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm quitting Lego, even though I think the clickbait comes in the fact that the thumbnail said I quit. But the title was Making the Decision to Quit Lego, and I spend the video talking about how I decided to quit on this Lego set and why we did that, and the concept of a low payout set, and why that may be something that you fall into as well, and just making a discussion out of it. The clickbait, I suppose, is in the thumbnail where it says I quit, but it technically is true because I did quit, and I had the Sesame Street set in my hands in the thumbnail, and the video is titled Making the Decision to Quit Lego. I'm not saying I quit Lego, even though the thumbnail says that, but it's making the decision, and we're talking about making that decision. Like, that is not clickbait. If you think that's clickbait, it's not. Like, of course you're lured in. It's appealing, and that's what Gold Puffin is saying here. Knew you weren't really quitting. I participated willingly in being clickbaited and love the video. You were baited in a little bit. I'll admit that. I think if I had taken the text out of the thumbnail, but if it said making the decision to quit Lego, if it said I made the decision to quit Lego, it makes sense. Anyways, I don't really need to defend myself. I had fun with the video, and I did add like a little ... to the end, and I put sets. Making the decision to quit Lego sets. And then the thumbnail still says I quit, but it's the Sesame Street set. People, one last thing about clickbait. People think that they get clickbaited because they see a video that isn't what their preconceived notion of that video was. So when you see that and you're thinking, oh, Greg quit Lego. Wow, he quit Lego. And then you see that it's about me quitting a Lego set, you feel you got clickbaited because you're like disappointed because you wanted that drama or whatever your conception of that video was, and that's why you feel you got clickbaited. But if you go through the comments on that, there's a lot of different ones, which again we're going to talk about here in a minute. But let's finish what Gold Puffin says. It says, what you said about the low payout set was really interesting because it made me realize that often these are the sets I like the most. And maybe the reason I don't really like the majority of Lego City is because they're high payout, which makes sense because they're targeted at younger age ranges, of course. I wanted to say thanks for reading my comment in this video and saying nice things about me and my channel, and always thanks for the encouragement through these videos as well as via Instagram in recent weeks. I think I'm slowly getting through the burnout I was feeling. I also agree with all the advice you gave in this video. Your advice is just like the rest of your content, authentic. Keep up the great work. Dude, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. I feel like Gold Puffin and I could become good buddies. He's on the cusp. If you guys don't know, Gold Puffin makes these really great videos where it's like based on piece counts, and I think they're great, and I'm subscribed, and you should too. But I feel like I'm advertising for him now. But he's on the cusp of doing Lego full time, and I'm so excited about that. And he sent me a message on Instagram. We were talking about this, and talking about the prospect of what that looks like and where you should be and financially, and when does it make sense to make that move. And it was a good conversation. I love to see people succeeding, so I'm really excited about Gold Puffin and seeing where he takes this. And I don't know, it's just, I love to see people make it. So there you go, Gold Puffin. Thank you so much for, again, commenting and being a part of Missing Pieces here. I appreciate you, man. And good luck, of course. Next comment comes from Red Desert Rose, who the last couple of weeks I maybe just found us, but has been leaving some really nice comments. In fact, I'm going to read 2 of them here. She comments that the video title was fine. We're talking about the Quit Lego video. Gives you a bit of shock, but immediately you think, there's probably something behind this. It's not what it looks like at face value. See, that's what an intelligent person would think. That's what a person that can like analyze things would think. Not everyone can or is willing to do that. I'm sure there are people, pretty much every single opinion you could think of and any topic you can think of, from one extreme to another. So if your net casts wide enough, you'll get every possible bit of feedback on the spectrum, from loved it to hated it. And the negative voices tend to be the loudest, just as you observe that negativity gets views. So you can't pay too much attention to all the voices in the crowd and let them get you overthinking the small stuff. It was fine. I think that's fantastic advice. I've told you guys before that you could get 100 comments on a video, 99 of them being like, hey, great video, loved it. You're the best thing that's ever happened to this world. Stuff like that. You get one comment that says, you suck, I hope you die. That is the comment that literally destroys you. It's one comment, but it's what you focus on. You get desensitized, and then you see that negative thing, and it really gets you like worked up. But I think you have a good point here, Red Desert Rose, where you put something out there. There's a lot of different people, different personalities, different opinions. Some people love it, some people hate it, some people are in the middle. Most times when you like things or are okay with things, you don't tend to be vocal about it. When you're very upset or disappointed, that's why you can't really trust reviews on Amazon so much, because there will be people on both ends of the spectrum. I absolutely love this thing. This is why I hated this thing. And I don't know if you can relate to this or not, but when I see those reviews, I tend to gravitate towards the negative ones because I feel like they have more of a rationale behind them and maybe more real than the positive one. And that's weird, isn't it? But like I could read all these good reviews, and then I watch that one or look at that one bad review on Amazon. I'm like, oh God, I'm not going to buy this thing because of that. But it's probably just one JA that's having a bad day, or maybe is that person that feels like everything's going wrong in their life. And this thing is an extension of that, just like we talked about in the beginning of this, right? So maybe don't put so much stake in the highly vocal negative person. Look at the aggregate and see that, maybe thousands of people have watched this video, or hundreds of people have reviewed this thing, and those 5 negative people, they aren't the people. They're the vast minority. They're just the vocal minority. So thank you, Red Desert Rose, for that comment, and thank you for this next one, who she's referring to the copyright strike that I got from now a larger size YouTuber that copyright striked me on a video that I made about him winning a contest, and congratulating him and sending out a gift to him for that, and getting a copyright strike on that video. He says, that copyright strike over the Lego contest is pretty low. Again, I think it was removed. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe he did it by mistake. He's like, whoa, I don't want to do that, because maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to justify it. It says, I once created a video on the occasion of my best friend's beloved grandmother dying, and used a whole lot of landscape photography my husband and I had done over the years. A couple years later, I got a copyright strike on it. Looked up where it had come from, and would you believe some other channel had literally ripped my entire video and posted it as theirs, and then tried hitting me with a copyright strike. I freaking couldn't believe it, and wrote to YouTube and said that I can prove the whole lot is mine. But I was so angry about that, I removed the video and pretty much everything else I'd ever put on YouTube. Not a great deal anyway, and never uploaded another video again. That makes me sad. I think you should come back. That was a rarity. I had a situation, speaking of stealing videos, this is a funny story. I had a situation where I made a video about Roxy wearing like this reindeer, like headband thing that was on her head. So she was like Roxy the red-nosed reindeer. And that video did like maybe a couple thousand views or something like that. Maybe a couple hundred views. I don't know. It was a long time ago. Somebody uploaded that same video in Spanish and put like subtitles on it. And it had like thousands of views, and I'm like, oh, that could have been me. But I put like a takedown notice on it, and I think they did take it down, or maybe YouTube took it down. But that was unfortunate. So if there's a lesson to be learned, if you're going to make a video about your dog wearing a funny outfit, put some Spanish subtitles on it, and it'll do very well with that audience. But it's crazy to see you do a video and then someone else steals it and they do much better off of it. Literally the same video. It just goes to show you the YouTube algorithm and how weird things like that are, how you can essentially upload the same video twice and have very different results. But anyways, lesson learned. Yo hablo español from now on. Next comment comes from Parkitect, easily the best screen name or username on the platform. It says, on the note of low payout sets, personally, I adore architecture related sets. These are very low payout sets, probably some of the lowest. The only video games I grew up with were Minecraft and Lego games. As such, almost all of the play patterns I adhere to are very building focused. I love getting large sets such as Apocalypseburg, taking a handful of pieces off in some places and say something like Apocalypseburg needs to be fortified for an incoming invasion or whatever. I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything, but I'm sharing what I think. Structure-based sets definitely have a place in play. Speaking of Lego games, I'm working on a Minecraft Bedrock add-on that adds various Lego video game mechanics to the game. Very heavily adventure map focused, but nevertheless, I thought maybe you or Clark would be interested. And that's pretty cool, man. I don't know what that entails or how you do that, but it sounds neat. And I like the fact that you guys are enjoying the low payout sets. Again, I think younger kids tend to like the high payout ones, which is why City does so well. And Ninjago is a high payout type thing. Typically, like you're getting minifigs, you're getting vehicles, you're getting that stuff. Sitting down with architecture set, it takes some dedication, and most kids aren't going to do that. So that's why they're made for 18 plus. And that Sesame Street, to be fair, that set was made for 18 plus as well. So, low payout sets are fine. And you want to talk about lowest payout sets. The Technic Bugatti is on my list to build. That's a low payout set, and I'm really looking forward to it. Next comment here, actually last feedback before we get into the wins, comes from Penfold. And I don't necessarily agree with this comment, but it brings up a good point that I think I should share with you guys. He says, YouTube is looking like it's going the way as GeoCities did. If you guys don't know what that is, it's a very old website maker that was very janky but very popular back in the day and doesn't really exist anymore. Like MySpace, for example. Says it seems that since it's been revenue targeted and bought by a big company, it's not growing anywhere near as fast as it was. So it seems they know they need to make as much revenue as possible before it dies. So my advice is if you have content on YouTube, make sure to have a physical backup of it somewhere just in case. I don't agree with the fact that YouTube's going anywhere. It's too big. It's the second biggest search engine in the world behind Google, and there's so much content there that it's not going anywhere. Will it ever be profitable for Google? It's hard to say because they're spending so much hosting these videos. I think they should get to the point at some point where they're like, okay, if a video's been on YouTube for, let's say 3 years, 5 years, whatever, and has less than 100 views, maybe they should consider taking that video down. Or maybe if it's less than 10 views, make it really small. So if you just put a video up and only you and your mom watched it, maybe take those down because that is taking up a lot of space of content that no one's watching. But I don't think YouTube's going anywhere, and I'd love to hear your opinions on this, along with anything else that I've talked about here. Where do you see the future of YouTube? Do you think it's going to get bigger, smaller? Do you see streaming on YouTube being a thing? Do you think Twitch is going to be that place? Do you think YouTube is going to collapse because it's become too big and just so desensitized and disassociated with the people and creators that are on the platform? Do you think it's going to go away? I don't personally think that, but I suppose there's a chance. But what I like from this comment, and the reason that I'm sharing it in particular, is make sure you have a backup somewhere just in case, a physical backup. And that applies to everything. If you guys have a computer that have all your videos and all your stuff and your memories on it, please get an external hard drive and put the stuff on there as well. Or better yet, put it in the cloud so if your house burns down, you don't lose it. I have everything backed up twice. Every video that I've ever made is on YouTube as I consider that my last case scenario backup. But I have hard drive 1 and hard drive 2 that has both of those things on there. I should probably take hard drive 2 and have it in a different location, because if our house does burn, I don't want to lose both of those. But I feel like if one hard drive fails, I still have the other one, and it's unlikely that both of them will fail at the same time. So yeah, make sure your stuff's backed up. Photos, things like that, things you can never get back. Make sure you have a copy somewhere. You don't want to just have it on your phone and then you lose your phone or something or wherever and not have that, because someday you're going to really want these memories and appreciate them. So there's Greg's advice for the day, and I want to thank Penfold for that. I hope you're not upset that I disagree with you about YouTube, but it is, it's a viewpoint, and I do appreciate that. We're going to send this episode off, though, now with some wins of the week. And you guys, thank you for finally coming through with some wins. I feel like the wins of the week lately have been I feel like nobody's winning anymore. And I know you guys are winning out there, so I want you to share them. Starting with Colin, who shared his. He says, "Hey, Greg, this past Thursday I got my wisdom teeth out. While I've been healing, I've had a lot of fun just watching your videos in Greg's World and streaming on Twitch. See you next week." I consider that to be a win of the week without actually specifically saying that. Wisdom teeth out, he's done. Hope you recover quickly, my friend. Sean Loves Bricks says, "My win of the week was finally dusting off my entire Lego collection. It was a long, tedious venture, but the result was well worth it. the time. Well, Sean, I'd like to cordially invite you out to the brickitect studio for another dusting session. Since you're so good at it and you're done, I'd love to have you come out, maybe spend a couple weeks in here just dusting for me. I would be happy to pay you in the currency that I have the most of, and that would be Lego bricks. So call me. Next comes from Plizzy Games. He says, "Hey, yo!" I like the intro. I'm already in. So I'm going to share my opinion on quitting and my experience with it. This year I switched to a new school and I didn't know what to sign up for. I love music, so I just did all the music activities: band, choir, orchestra, jazz band, slow choir, and pep band. I didn't even know pep band was a thing. Show choir and jazz band were early each morning before school. Band is great, but I did not enjoy show choir. Thought of quitting, but now that I've met some other kids in it, I've really enjoyed it. Win. On my music studies tomorrow, I have a solo contest. He's talking about today, which would have been yesterday for you. I have a solo contest. I'm very nervous, but I shouldn't be because I practice. Reminding everyone out there to stay positive about yourself and never give up, even if it's hard or not fun at first. Stay with it, and you might turn to enjoy it. I love that. Give me an update, though, Plizzy. I need to know how your thing went today or tomorrow or yesterday, I guess it'll be. Solo contest. Dang, I'm nervous for you, but I think you're going to do great. It sounds like you're prepared, and who knows, maybe this music thing will turn into something for you. I imagine if you're taking that many classes in it, you must have some talent. So congratulations to you, man. I'm happy to see people do the things they love, and I'm glad you stuck with it. Don't be a quitter. There's times to quit, but I don't think when you just join something or just try something, that's not the time. See if you like it, see if you enjoy it. And sometimes it's the social aspect of it that turns out to be the most fun. Next comment, though. Thank you for the win. Next comment comes from Wabmaster, who says, "My win of the week was enjoying a nice vacation at Disney with my family. It was nice to get away to the warm weather and enjoy the week. I'm officially jealous now. I watched Missing Pieces to pass the time on the plane. P.S. Super excited for the Renaissance coming to Brickitect. Me too. I'm still jealous, though. I want to go to Disney. I think we're going to be going next January, February. We're going to be going, and we'll bring you guys along. I'm excited. It was supposed to be in 2020, and then let's not talk about it. Let's go on to the next one. Thank you for the win. Glad to keep you company on the plane, and I'm glad you enjoyed your trip to Disney. Anyways, let's go on to Captain Brick Kid. It says, "Hey Greg, I'm 15. I've been listening since episode 1, but I finally decided to comment. Like everyone else, I found your channel through haul videos about 4 or 5 years ago, but have stayed for you and Clark. I just want to share my win of the week and also my family's win of the year. My win of the week is finally starting a YouTube channel. After listening to 50 episodes of you constantly saying start a channel, I gave in and I have loved it so far. I've gotten 1 subscriber and I finally understand what you say about positive comments. Even though it's only 1 person, after working really hard on the video, there's something that feels really awesome when I see the positive comment, and I always leave on every video." That's awesome, dude. You found somebody to find your channel and then encourage you. Sometimes that's all it takes. Just like we're talking to Plizzy there, it's like the social aspect of it. And it's like you got that 1 person. See what you can do. Like it's something small. If you can just do something small for somebody, it may mean nothing to you, but can mean a whole lot to someone else. In the same regard, if you're going to say something negative, that can have a very devastating effect. And this could have been the end of the man's career there. So do a nice thing if you can. Just something minuscule. It takes no time or effort. Tell your mom she looks nice. Tell your wife that she's pretty today. Whatever that is, it's nothing, but man, can have power. So now you're playing with power. Thank you for commenting on that, Captain Brick Kid, and congratulations on your channel, man. I hope you get more subscribers coming your way. Next comment here comes from Chris Robinson. This is actually a follow-up on a comment from a long time ago. I'm happy to hear back from him. He says, "My win of the week is that my podcast, Two Dudes and Tunes, dropped this past week. Released an episode every Monday through Friday last week and got a modest amount of listens. I have no idea what to expect, but my friend and co-host are having a great time about music we love, and that's all we care about." I just wanted to add that I identify with your fitness goals too. I'm 170 pounds and 5'10". I kind of chuckled last week when you spoke about your situation because it sounds awfully familiar. I don't know if you plan to hitting the gym, but my wife and I love going 2 to 3 times a week. We do cardio and strength training and enjoy both the workout as well as how we feel when we're consistent. I just want to wish you luck. Well, thank you so much, Chris. I wish you luck too with your podcast and your fitness journey. And again, I go back to, you never know what's going to connect with people. Sometimes you could talk about Lego, and that's the thing. Sometimes you could talk about how you're trying to get a 97 pack in time for June in the gym. And this week actually went really well. I should give an update on this. I forgot to tell you guys. I think I'm down. I'm down from my from my highest, I don't know what I'm at my highest, but I was down to 177.2. And I think last week when I did the podcast, I was like 178.6. So what is that? Like 2.4 pounds. So I'm happy about that. Making some progress. It's going to speed up. You asked about going to the gym. We have like a workout room in our house. It's like an extra bedroom that's converted into like we have a elliptical, and we have weights and stuff like that I very rarely use because I spend all my time doing this. But when Clark goes to school, that's going to give me some time to do that. I'm planning to do a lot of walking, running, biking, stuff like that as well. And I think my progress is going to speed up over that time, especially not having Clark home with me, because I tend to eat when he eats, which I've been trying to break that the last few weeks, and it's made a big difference. But 6-year-olds eat like every hour or two, and like when Clark's eating, I'm like, okay, I'll eat with you, and then he has some leftovers and I eat, and it tends to lead to overeating. So for me, I'm just playing the calorie deficit game right now, burning off all of those extra meals and stuff that I've stored on. Excuse me. And hopefully we'll get rid of this, and I'll keep updating you guys on my results, and hopefully you can do this with me as well. We've got one last win of the week, and this is from Gamer Garrett, who's a friend of ours in the Discord. He says, my win of the week was reaching 200 subscribers, thanks to the help of the Patreon detectors. Well, Garrett, you deserve it, man. Thank you so much for always being a part of the group there. Probably one of the most active people in our little group of peeps. I was looking for another word for a group, and I almost said clan, but I don't think I want to call us a clan. It seems like bad taste. But congratulations on 200 subscribers. Again, you are motivation to other people. Maybe Bob and anyone else that maybe just got their first subscriber, they got that one comment. Stay consistent. Show up. Just show up, and eventually things will start building, and you'll hit 200 subscribers, and you'll be very excited about it, and that'll end up being your win of the week. Again, I would love to hear your wins of the week. If you have one to share next week, I'll try to share them. I feel like now we're probably going to have more than what I could possibly share, but I'll share some that I feel like we can make conversation out of and maybe help other people as well. I do want to thank you so much as we just hit the 1 hour mark. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me this week in an episode that I almost was like, I got nothing to talk about, and somehow here I am, talking about everything. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me on this conversation and this journey through all the things that are running through my mind. Again, I'm super excited to have you with me, and as the brickitect renaissance happens here in the next few weeks, as we get organized, as we get into some new series, as we start getting into streaming, as I can dedicate time to this. It's going to be an awesome thing. Next week, I'm going to be very tempted to talk again about how excited I am, but hopefully we'll have some things that have happened and things that are going on in my life that I can share and that you find value in. Speaking of finding value, if you do find value in this series, there's a couple ways you can support this. You can leave a like on the video if you want to. You can leave a comment on this video, some feedback. You can give me something that I can talk about next week if you want to. You can review us on Apple Podcasts if you want to. You can make a pledge on Patreon if you'd like to join our group there, become a part of the Discord, become a part of our Friday night streams, our Tuesday streams, and all the other stuff that's happening over there. You can do that if you want to. You can do anything you want, but there's one thing that I'm going to demand that you do, and that is have a great week. Make it the best week of your life. Show up to the things, keep a positive attitude, and do the things that you love to do in life authentically as yourself, because you can't go wrong doing that. So on that, guys, thank you for watching, and we'll find you in the next Missing Pieces.